First question: Bhagwan, what is liberation? And is there life after death? Is there any reincarnation after Mahaparinirvana? Will Buddha and Mahavira ever come back on this planet? Kabir, liberation is here and now. Definitely, Siddhartha Gautam Buddha was enlightened. But enlightenment does not mean that bodies can't come and go. Enlightenment is of the eternal self. Enlightenment is the highest experience of life. Whenever you come, you can experience it. It doesn't mean that you won't come here once again. It never means that. Whether here or on some other planet, and whether in this universe or another, you will come. Just because you have lived here in one country doesn't mean you have got the experience of life in every other country as well. It also doesn't mean you have experienced life on every other planet, in every other galaxy or even universe. Also, everything changes with time. If Buddha could free himself from lust thousands of years ago, it was done from the perspective of the civilization prevalent at that time in that context. I will feel curious to see Siddhartha Gautam Buddha saving himself again in the age of OnlyFans. You see, times change and so do the dynamics of life. Life is a ubiquitous phenomenon found in the vastness of space, galaxies and multiverses. Each and every action you undertake here in your life can have millions and millions of permutations and combinations, and same goes with every event. Life does not stop. You never cease to exist. Experiences are multifarious and infinite. Just because you are a doctor doesn't mean you have the knowledge and experience of an engineer as well. Also, just because you are Gautam Buddha doesn't mean that you are a mainstream data scientist as well. Every form of life has some pinnacle of experience associated with it. Gautam Buddha found the truth in his own way. Jesus did in his way. I did it my way as Osho. I have done the same discovery once again as Shashi, just a little differently and uniquely. The pinnacle of truth is forever new, yet eternally the most ancient and primeval. The flavor of enlightenment remains diverse and toothsome in every way of attainment. Roses have blossomed a quadrillion times on this planet, but it never means that they are no longer needed. They will blossom once again and again, to fill the atmosphere with fragrance and freshness. Yes, all enlightened people will visit Earth and other planets time and again in conformity with the requirements and situations. To be inquisitive about inquiring into the self within, and to feel fascinated and curious about exploring the world around symbolizes the spirit of a seeker. A seeker is continuously seeking. His life is a matter of a deep and innovative exploration and thinking. He is not simply a seeker, but also a philosopher and a scientist. He becomes a poet when the rhythms and vibrations of cosmic love touches his heart. He also becomes an ignorant man when he is going to learn something new, because if he carries the burden of his old knowledge, it will prove to be detrimental for his future possibilities of acquiring further knowledge and wisdom. Enlightenment is, I have stated, the highest experience of life. It is the highest experience of life. It is simply an incredible and incomparable experience. But it's not stagnant, and the phenomenon of enlightenment doesn't conclude in any one event. It starts where life starts, in any form of body, but it never stops, as life is in its inherent characteristic, eternal, timeless, and indestructible. A person can claim to be enlightened once he understands this continuous process of enlightenment happening within him, and he is able to detect its charisma and power. An enlightened man is also traveling in the journey of enlightenment, which is ceaseless and eternally dynamic. All enlightened people have interpreted truth in a variety of ways, and all such people in the future too will repeat it. Truth is so vast and momentous that even millions and millions of souls in the journey of enlightenment are insufficient to explain it and describe it. Every definition of truth and every description of it are mere attempts to indicate the existence of its undying spirit and endlessness. The realization that there's something cosmic and immortal, the realization that there is something which is enveloping all of creation, and the realization that there is something beyond the idea of every mundane mind is the realization of God. To my opinion, the very essence of life is in its profound exploration, and this very exploration of life becomes the final idea of all spiritual journeys. Reincarnation is also not a false idea. If you look closely, there is reincarnation happening all around you. It's happening all around you. Even if you see water, it's the byproduct of water cycle. Water is available in oceans and seas, and once it evaporates, it becomes clouds, and when it rains, it again comes back to earth to recharge the groundwater aquifers. The water that you are drinking right now is millions and millions of years old. It's not something that you have created right now. It has been there since life began on earth. Similarly, everything is repeating itself every time, but every time it gets repeated, it becomes a little newer, a little more beautiful, and incredibly and brilliantly mysterious. The same applies on life as well. This body is perishable, but the eternal self within is beyond the limitations of birth and death. Life is like electricity. It is like electricity. It brings energy to the body it enters. If the electricity passes through a light bulb, the light bulb lights up, and if it passes through a fan, the fan starts spinning. Your body is functioning right now because of the presence of bioelectricity or prana inside. This prana is immortal, and this is the fundamental need and starting point of the animation of any body. Once this prana or soul leaves the body gets decomposed and mixes with the soil. The body gets decomposed and it mixes with the soil. It's not that the soil is completely unconscious. Soil is as conscious as this universe. Soil also has its own intelligence. If you sow a seed in it, and if it keeps getting water and other necessary ingredients timely and adequately, you can cultivate land and do agriculture. This soul is also governed by the laws of nature and its nature itself. Now, here we should understand that the consciousness of soil and the consciousness of your body both are due to the prevalence of that eternal superconsciousness. This eternal superconsciousness is so infinite that it can manifest in all of creation throughout the cosmic fabric at once. As this whole universe is life itself, God itself, and consciousness itself, there's no such final liberation after which you won't need to appear in bodies anymore. Bodies are also God, and experiences are also godly, as they are happening as a result of their interaction with the world, and this world or nature is also nothing but God. People have misinterpreted liberation many times, and this misinterpretation has prevented the civilizations from understanding its true meaning and ramifications. It has prevented the civilizations from understanding its true meaning and ramifications. My teaching is to glorify life and to embrace this body and mind, which are the lively and powerful manifestations of the Supreme God. My philosophy will not be limited to any specific geography or time. It's universal in nature and it's for all of the creation. तो फिर से जाते जाते कुछ कहूँ, वही कहूँ जो कहा नहीं जा सकता, और वही दिखाने की कोशिश करूं जिसे देखा नहीं जा सकता। खेल चलता है जिंदगी का और याद रखना तलाश जारी है। खेल चलता है जिंदगी का और याद रखना तलाश जारी है। तुम जब जब मुझे भूलने की कोशिश करोगे, मैं और ज़्यादा याद आऊँगा। That's it for today. Thank you very much.